This video is about you meeting the love languages of your children, yeah, tomorrow and even after Valentine. Hi everyone, welcome on my channel. My name is Omoumi Odonton, and right on this channel we talk about life, we talk about faith, and we talk about books. Yes, and today I've got this very interesting book that I got at a very important part of my life. And personally, I realized that both of my kids have got different personalities, and with the second one I found him to be a little bit more emotional than the first. And I was asking people that had boy children. I'm like, how do you deal with an emotional child? Now, does any of your children appear to be more emotional than the other? And I've heard different responses, but luckily, and I believe it was God ordering my steps anyways, I got this book, The 5 Love Languages by Chapman. Love languages for children. I know you might be well familiar with the 5 love languages, right? But that's for that's like a general one. I will be sharing with us a few things that I've learned from this book. If you've got children, or if you are yet to even identify your own love language, it might be one for you to get, because if you don't know something, you just be thrown into confusion. That's the fact. So it's still the same love languages that we are aware of. The 5 love languages for children are still the same 5 love languages that you might already be aware of. The physical touch, words of affirmation, service, quality time, and gifts. Those 5 are the same 5 love languages for children as well. How do we know what exactly is our children's love language? Number one, for children that's got like physical touch as a primary love language, they are children that would always want you to hug them. They are children that they would always want to hug you as well. They are children that they would this thing, right? It made me to know outrightly, like my first kid is physical touch. If you know him so well, he's one that gives out hugs, that doesn't mind you cuddling. He comes around to cuddle people. People just, there are children that would want you to kiss them. There are children that would want you to like toss them around, put them on the shoulder. There are children that would want you to they would want to be in contact with you. In a way, they might even be children, those children that you are trying to send them to their rooms every night, say go and sleep in your room, but they would rather sleep in your bed because they want your touch. They want to like snuggle inside of you. Might be one of the, or some of the indicators of the love language of your child being physical touch. Yes, so I would want to demystify two things, as identified, as mentioned in the book. And the first one is hugging my male child will turn him to be feminine. The author of the book mentioned that there is nothing as such, that in fact your children as they grow actually want more of your physical touch. It's just that they might be less expressive of it. Yes, and he mentioned that between 7 and 9, that is the stage for boys to become resistant to touch. But at that moment, as a parent, what you would rather do is to probably engage them in maybe like footballing, maybe like wrestling, maybe like karate, games that can actually help with the physical touch. The both of you can be together in the house. You are tickling each other. You are doing that. So just to maintain that physical touch. Second myth is that as a child grows older, there is less need for physical touch. There's less need for physical touch and a show of affection. And this person has said there is nothing of such. It's all in your mind. It's you thinking he's not a big boy. It doesn't need me anymore. But this boy actually needs you. This child actually needs you. For physical touch, some of the things you can do is to have family up time. I know that my first child loves that. Absolutely. Family hug time, everybody comes together and give themselves a cuddle. Then another thing is you can have period where you can have high fives, you can have tickling. Then one thing to take note of is the fact that children change. Yes, children change, and you as a parent have the responsibility for you to be able to identify if the child has changed, what might have led to it, and see how you can change as well, possibly manage the change very well. Then the second thing is act of service. If you have a child that actually loves you, cooking special meals for him or her, that might be that child telling you that I love act of service. If you have probably lightens up whenever you fix their toys for them, whenever you fix their bikes for them, whenever you sit with them to do their computer work, to do their school works. If you have that kind of child, that might be that child telling you, my love language is act of service. Yes, I can see that you love me, because it's one thing for you to tell your child that you love them. It's another thing for that child to actually understand it, to be able to comprehend it, that you love them, and to be able to confidently say it at anywhere that my parents love me. Another one is the word of affirmation, and some of the things you might want to look out for in our kids is how they lighten up when we tell them, oh, and it's word of affirmation. And one of the ways you can when you compliment them, these are kids that sometimes they would even tell you, they might even tell you, oh, in that mathematics I did so well, and I feel really great. So that might be an indicator that child actually loves words of affirmation. So those are children that they lighten up, you compliment them. However, when you're telling them you love them, it needs to be in isolation, not because of the things that they have done. So they don't have the mindset of, oh, maybe it's because of the things they have done, or your love towards them is. So some of the ideas that he puts, that the author actually suggested are, in their lunch box, you could write a note, you could put a post-it note on there, and then just tell them, I feel great about you. Just tell them you are doing great, you will do so well in school today. Then another thing you can do is to actually have an encouragement jar, and I think I love that. You could put different things of affirmation, words of affirmation on there. You are a strong and smart child, just put them there, and you could say, oh, today we'll be looking through our jar, and it's just all about, to be sincere, it's all about filling and refilling the emotional tank of our children. And I love the place where you mentioned that, you see, this emotional tank, right? Even you as a parent, if you are depleted, it might be quite difficult for you to refill for another person. So it is very important for us as parents to actually be intentional, number one, about ourselves. Be intentional, number one, about yourself, refilling your own emotional tank up every day, intentionally, and then being intentional about your children's emotional tank as well, refilling it, because he said this thing depletes so fast. And I can imagine as well, so it's all about refilling the emotional tank. Then the fourth love language that I'm here to mention is quality time. I mentioned that, the truth is, it becomes really difficult, especially as they grow, to spend quality time with them, because you feel they are grown now. They don't like it more, you feel they are grown, maybe sometimes you even assume that they don't need us around them, of which for a child whereby, okay, all you want is you being around them, you speaking with them, because it's not just being around them. You have to make the most out of the time you are with them. You speaking with them, you having quality conversations with them. And this actually goes down to fathers, most especially, with your girl child, because with the girl child growing up to pre-adolescent stage, you might think the girl child does not really need you, but the fact remains that most pre-adolescent children, girl children, actually need more of their fathers to be able to, like, to be able to, like, to be able to, like, refuel them better, refuel their self-esteem, make them, make them develop into an healthy adult. So for the ideas for how you can spend quality time with your children, actually having making snacks together. If it's an African home, you do meat pie, you bake cakes, just look out for activities that you can do together with the child that would interpret quality time for the child. It might even be okay. Most of the time, I love taking my kids to the park, but most of the time what I see people do there is sitting on the bench observing their kids. But with a child with quality time, the child wants you around, probably, on the swing, pushing him or her. The child wants you to play around. You're obviously not going on the slides and all, but being around, being engaged with the child, that means a whole lot for the child with quality time as love language. Some of the ideas for quality time is, okay, you spending time together, making that healthy snack, you probably making that meat pie together, baking together, and even taking the child to the park. But what most of us do is probably leave the child on the slides playing all around by himself and sitting back to watch from afar, or even being on our phone. But for a child with quality time as their primary love language, the child wants you to be as involved as you can. Last thing I want to talk about is gifts. You have children that lightens up when you give them something. It might be something like a pen, it might be just anything. They just love it. They come around they come around home and they tell you, oh, this person gave me this, this person said this person, my mommy gave me that. So all they talk about, all they're concerned about is the gift that somebody has gifted them. So that might be an indicator to know that, okay, this is the particular primary love language of that child. So what do you do to respond to that? It is to probably get things around, gifts for him or her that can actually make him understand or make her understand gifts are not necessarily big expensive gifts. So and for the child to be able to comprehend that you love him, and for the emotional tank of that child to be full, because the whole essence of this is for us to build a healthy child, a healthy society, and a healthy future for ourselves. So please, tomorrow is Valentine. Even when Valentine ends, make sure that you sit back, try and analyze what exactly is the love language of your children. And like I said, it is applicable to yourself, it is applicable to your spouse if you are married, if it is applicable to the children in your child minding center if you've got one. So please watch this video to the end. I would encourage you to watch this video to the end, give it a thumbs up, like it, share it, and drop a comment if anything has actually stood out for you in this video. I know it's a long one, but then we need to do this. So it's your girl, me. I'll see you again next week. Bye.